The Promise Part 17 love story. Chris rang the doorbell and stood there, waiting, but no one answered. Panic set in as he recalled Maria's bruised face. He started to worry, wondering why he hadn't checked the security footage earlier. With urgency, he pressed the bell again, and just then, the door opened. Relief flooded through him so fast it almost made him dizzy. Without thinking, he hurried up the stairs like a man chasing sunlight, 2 steps at a time, his heart racing like a child seeing a lollipop for the first time. When he reached the 2nd floor and saw Lena's apartment door swing open, he froze, half from joy, half from disbelief that panic had nearly eaten him alive. "Chris?" Lena blinked at him in surprise, standing in the doorway in her silky robe, her damp hair falling softly over her shoulders. He didn't even answer. In that rush of relief, he just caught her gently by the waist, lifting her off the ground and spinning her once before setting her back down, laughing breathlessly. He kissed her cheek, then her hands, as if to reassure himself she was real. Lena laughed, startled but touched. "Chris, what's happening? Is everything okay?" He exhaled, still catching his breath. "No," he admitted, smiling shakily. "But now, yes. I sent you a message earlier and rang your bell. You didn't answer. I got worried." Her expression softened immediately. "Oh, I didn't hear it. I was in the shower. And then something happened with the water. Come, please. I needed help. The pipe cracked. The water's been leaking everywhere." He followed her in, the sound of dripping echoing off the tiles. A thin line of water ran along the floor. She pointed at the pipe under the sink, bending slightly, her robe slipping a little at the shoulder. Chris swallowed hard, kneeling to inspect the leak. He tightened the valve swiftly, using the small wrench she had, his soldier's precision showing in his calm, efficient movements. "It's closed now," he said quietly. "You'll need someone to fix it properly later." "Thank you," she said, standing close, her voice soft. He nodded, trying not to look at her, but she was right there, bare feet, damp hair, the silk fabric brushing lightly against her skin. He could feel his pulse rise, the faint scent of her soap drawing him in. "Control yourself," he told himself silently. "Don't ruin this moment." When he stood up, they were too close. Lena's eyes met his for a heartbeat, wide, uncertain, but full of warmth. She stepped back quickly, blushing. "I'll make breakfast," she said, breaking the tension. He exhaled, forcing a small smile. "Only if you let me help this time." They worked side by side in the kitchen, their hands brushing once or twice as they reached for plates or cups. Each touch sent a quiet jolt through both of them. Lena laughed softly when the toaster jumped. Chris just watched her, every movement, every shy glance. The way she turned her face when his gaze lingered too long made him feel something deeper than he could name. When they sat down to eat, he watched her quietly, his expression calm, but his heart still racing. She was avoiding his eyes now, playing with her toast. "Lena," he said at last, smiling faintly. She laughed, shaking her head, and he felt something inside him loosen, the fear, the worry, all replaced by warmth. Chris asked, "So what will you do today?" "I need to go see Maria," she said, "to pay her the rent I owe for the 2 months I stayed with her." The words hit him harder than she could know. Maria. His mind flashed back to her bruised face, her trembling hands, her warning. He hid his concern with a calm nod. "Do you want me to come with you?" Lena looked surprised. "Oh, no, I can manage. I'll just give her what I owe and come back." Chris smiled faintly, though his jaw tightened. "All right, but promise me you'll call me after." She tilted her head, smiling gently. "You worry too much, Chris." He looked at her quietly, his voice low. "Maybe I have reason to." Lena held his gaze for a second too long before looking away, her heart fluttering. "All right," she said softly. "I'll call you." As she turned to put away the dishes, he looked at her once more and told himself silently, "You're not going anywhere near Maria alone." Chris was really wrestling with himself. One part of him urged, "Go for it, Chris, just ask her." But then another part cautioned, "Don't put too much pressure on yourself, Chris." Still, the idea of something happening to Lena weighed on his mind. Finally, He just blurted out a question to Lena about Maria. "Lena," he began gently, "I wanted to ask, how did you first meet Maria?" Lena paused, resting her hands on the table. "When I got my green card, my cousin Sandy searched online for addresses where new immigrants could register," she explained. "That's how we found Maria's address. Sandy helped me pay her a little to use it until I arrived." Chris frowned slightly. "So Sandy didn't really know her personally?" Lena shook her head. "No, she didn't. Maria wasn't kind, but I still thank her. At least she helped me start." Chris nodded slowly. "And if you give her the money, are you sure she'll admit you paid?" Lena hesitated. "That's what worries me, too. I wish you had time. We could go together." He smiled softly. "We can. Come by during my break or after work. I'll finish early today, so around 4. Lena's eyes lit up. "That would be better." Inside, Chris silently thanked God. "At least I'll be there if anything happens." He stood, grabbing his jacket. "Let me go change before Mr. Lee starts calling," he said with a grin. "Have a good day," Lena smiled, walking him to the door. Just as he stepped out, her phone buzzed, her mother calling. "To be continued tomorrow at 6 p.m. If you need any part that you might have missed, just send me a message about The Promise and let me know which part you're looking for. Thanks." The Promise, Part 18, Love Story. When Lena answered the call, her mother's voice burst through the speaker, full of joy. "Oh, Lena, Lena, Lena," she cried, laughing and half shouting, "Nikulunkalu uyabonga! Thank God! The money, my child. It's twice what I expected. What have you done to us, Lena? Why do you want me to faint?" Lena burst into laughters. She knows how appreciative her mother can be. "Lena, my child," her mother began, "the money has arrived, but it came from an unknown sender. It went straight into my bank account. I don't understand. How did you send it?" Lena smiled, lowering her eyes. "Ah, Mama, a friend helped me. The one who looked after me when I was sick. He sent it for me." Her mother chuckled warmly. "That sounds beautiful, my child." "You say he?" Lena laughed. "I knew you would catch that. Anyway, let me tell you before you start asking. His name is Chris. We work together at the restaurant." "Chris," her mother repeated softly. "And what kind of man is he?" Lena smiled shyly, twisting the edge of her robe. "He's kind, Mama. Very kind. When I was sick, he asked me to rest, and he worked in my place so I could still get paid. He said no one should suffer for trying too hard." Her mother gasped lightly. "Ah, that's a man with a heart. God has blessed you, my child." Lena hesitated, then added softly, "Can you imagine, Mama? He even sold one of his watches to help me clear my debt. That's the money I sent you." The other end of the line went quiet for a second. Then her mother said in awe, "He sold his watch? For you? Then he must see something precious in you, Lena. Be grateful for that." "I am," Lena said quietly. "He also got himself an apartment near where I stay. It's so simple, but he makes everything feel warm." Her mother's voice softened with joy. "You sound happy, my girl. I'm so glad you've met someone who treats you kindly. Take care of him. A woman's gentleness is what keeps love alive." Lena laughed gently. "Mama, you and your advice." Her mother joined in the laughter. "It's true, my child. Love is like a plant. It grows with care and prayer. Now listen, your father is very proud of you. He said we're going to pay the rent 3 months ahead." Lena straightened up quickly. "No, Mama, please don't pay for 3 months. Just pay 1. I want you to look for a better place, a safer one. If possible, move away from there." Her mother sighed softly. "Other places are expensive, Lena." "I know," Lena said gently. "But please, I want you to try. You and Dad deserve comfort. You're one of the reasons I came here, to make your lives better." On the other side of the line, her mother's voice broke slightly. "You've already done more than enough, my child. Your father is smiling for the first time in weeks. You've given us peace." Lena smiled, blinking back tears. "That's all I wanted, Mama. Just promise me you'll find somewhere brighter." "I promise," her mother whispered. "And one day, when you get your own apartment, remember to invite me and your father. It's our dream to see where our girl lives." Lena laughed, wiping her eyes. "You'll come, Mama. I'll make sure of it." Her mother chuckled softly, then added, "Oh, by the way, I've already sent Sandy her money. She sent me a message saying thank you." She sounded relieved. Lena smiled. "That's good. Please, Mama, send me Sandy's number. I want to call her myself." "I will," her mother said warmly. "I'll send it right after this call. She'll be so happy to hear your voice again." They ended the call with quiet laughter and blessings that lingered long after the line went silent. A mother's love carrying across the distance, wrapping her daughter in warmth once more. After the call with her mother ended, Lena sat quietly, smiling. She opened her phone and searched, "What small gift can a woman give a man?" One answer caught her eye. "Do something original from your own hands." It felt right. She remembered the beads she had brought from home, found them in her case, and began weaving a black and red bracelet with a tiny red heart at the center. Her first gift for Chris. While Chris served customers with a grin, his mind wandered to Lena. Just then, he turned and spotted Maria entering the cafe, causing his heart to race in a bad way. "The next part will be on my profile at 8:30 p.m. same day today. The Promise Part 19 love story." Maria Delgado stepped in. Her coat was heavy with rain, her hair sticking to her face. She looked older under the gray light, the kind of woman whose worries had eaten years from her skin. She glanced around until her eyes found Chris. A small, knowing smile crossed her lips as she walked slowly to the counter. Chris wiped his hands and kept his tone even. "Good afternoon." Maria nodded, unbothered. "Coffee," she said simply. He prepared it, trying to ignore the prickling unease in his chest. When he set the cup before her, she didn't thank him. She leaned her elbows on the counter and said almost casually, "You remember me, don't you? I came here the other day." He looked at her calmly. "Yes. What do you need now?" "I came to see if the girl was here. Lena." Her lips curved faintly. "She owes me. You know that. She told me she'll come to see you this evening." Maria stirred her coffee, not to mix sugar, but just to fill the silence. "You trust her, do you?" "I do." She tilted her head, her voice taking on a hint of mockery. "Maybe you shouldn't. People forget promises." Chris's patience thinned, though his expression didn't change. "She hasn't forgotten anything." Maria leaned forward slightly, lowering her voice. "If the men return, I'll bring them here. Maybe she'll show up then." The words hit like a spark. The soldier in Chris surfaced before he could stop it. His eyes hardened, calm but cutting. He leaned closer, his voice dropping to a quiet steel. "If you ever speak to me like that again, you'll disappear before those men even knock on your door." Maria froze. Something in his tone, too composed, too certain, made her throat tighten. Chris slid the heavy envelope across the battered table and watched Maria as if he were watching the slow fall of a curtain. Her fingers trembled when she touched the paper. Curiosity and fear warred in her eyes. She slit the flap and drew the first photograph free. The courtyard in Seville bloomed in the sun. Two young men laughing by a stone fountain, unmistakably the boys Maria had once boasted about. Their names were printed on a small caption at the bottom. Mateo and Javier Delgado. Maria's lips tightened. Those are her precious sons living in Spain. She took the next image. A glossy storefront shot. Delgado Beauty, Puerto Real, Seville. A receipt had been taped to the back, stamped and dated. The third photo showed the interior of a salon, light spilling across varnished stations, Maria's name on a framed certificate above the mirror. Another image followed. A tidy house with terracotta tiles and wrought iron railings, an address in southern Spain. Each picture was a tidy proof. Maria's hands shook as she turned the next page. A bank statement fell into view. Columns of transfers, names abbreviated, one routing number flagged. Chris watched her face pale with recognition. The final stack was private and precise. A photocopy of a passport page with Maria's photo and the last issued stamp, an airline itinerary showing a one-way ticket purchased in cash, a scanned receipt from a broker, the buyer's name, a partial account number, a deposit noted as confirmation. Chris's voice was steady, each word a controlled instrument. "You promised them a girl. You gave a name, an address, a way in. These photos show where you hide. They show who benefits. They show where money moved. You used people for profit." She reached for the photographs as if she could gather them back into a lie. Her knees buckled. Chris did not shout. He leaned forward and tapped the images in order: Spain, the salons, the Mexican addresses, the Newark transfers, the passport, the ticket. "You will disappear from Lena's life," he said, every syllable absolute. "No phones, no names, no buyers. If you step near her, I will make sure every one of these papers becomes evidence in a file that follows you across borders." She began to promise, breathless and broken. The photos lay between them, a papery web that caught her. Outside, rain rattled against the window. Inside, the gallery of proof closed in. Maria's world, built on small betrayals and hidden accounts, folded quiet and fast beneath the weight of the images Chris had placed where she could see them. Maria was in shock, unable to wrap her head around what just occurred. Her nerves were all over the place. Chris then said, "Make sure you're home between 4 and 5 this afternoon. Lena will come to see you." She was blinking rapidly, clearly trying to hold back her tears. The confidence she walked into the restaurant with vanished the moment she received that plain brown envelope. He explained, "I don't want her to have to carry the weight of your debt." Maria gave a quick nod, apologized, and hurried out of the restaurant. The phone rang just as Lena was threading the last black bead. She wiped her hands and answered. "Auntie gave me your number," Sandy said, her voice trembling but trying to sound cheerful. "And thank you for paying me back, Lena. You didn't have to hurry." Lena smiled. "Sandy, I had to. You helped me when no one else would. That money was meant for your IVF, and still you gave it to me so I could travel. I'll never forget that." On the other side, Sandy gave a tired laugh that turned into a small sigh. It was the right thing to do. But life here hasn't been kind. Thabo lost his temper again. Lena froze. "Again? Sandy, where are you?" "In the hospital," Sandy whispered. "He beat me last night. The nurse says I'll be discharged tomorrow. He's angry all the time, says it's because I can't give him a child. It's been 7 years, Lena. 7 years of trying." The Promise Part 20 love story. "I've done 3 rounds of IVF already. Each one failed. Each one took everything I had." Lena pressed the phone to her ear, her eyes glistening. "Sandy, why don't you leave him? You deserve peace." "I wish I could," Sandy said quietly. "But he keeps saying we'll try again. He swears this time will work. I'm tired, but part of me still wants to believe him." Lena's throat tightened. "You've carried too much pain. No child should be born through tears." For a long moment, neither spoke. Only the sound of Sandy's breath, slow and shaky, filled the line. Then Lena said softly, "Listen, don't give up hope yet. My paycheck is coming in 2 days. I'll send you a little more. Maybe it can help you with the next treatment, or even just help you rest without worry." There was a pause, and then a soft cry from Sandy. "You still think of me even from there?" "You're my sister," Lena said gently. "We share the same blood of hope. I believe one day you'll hold your baby." Sandy gave a small laugh through her tears. "Promise me you'll rest. Don't let Thabo's anger take away your light." "I promise," Sandy whispered. "And thank you, Lena. Truly, you've given me something to hold on to again." When the call ended, Lena sat for a while in silence. The bracelet gleamed softly on the table beside her, the little red heart catching the afternoon light, beating quietly for both of them. Lena decided to head out to grab some groceries and a nice envelope. While she was there, she spotted a blank card and an idea struck her. She wanted to write a little note to Chris. Once she got back home, she headed straight to the living room, already knowing what she wanted to say. A smile crept across her face as she wrote, each word carrying a piece of her feeling. "Dear Chris, I tried not to think of you today, but it didn't work. Every time I remembered your smile, I whispered a small prayer for you. This bracelet is a small thing, but I made it with love. I hope it reminds you that you are appreciated, thought of, and prayed for. If today gets heavy, wear it and remember that someone out here believes in you. Lena." She placed the bracelet inside the envelope with the card, sealed it carefully, and smiled. Then she quietly slid it under Chris's door. Back in her apartment, she leaned against the wall for a moment, her heart fluttering softly. She didn't know why, but she felt lighter, like she had just sent a little piece of her heart to where it belonged. After a while, she took her phone and typed a message. "Hey, Chris, how's everything going? I can just imagine you smiling while you read this." Chris chuckled to himself, thinking, "Yeah, Lena, you're really starting to get me, and that puts my heart in a good place." He quickly responded, "I've been thinking about you all day. Let's meet at the bus stop in 15 minutes. Lena replied, "Sounds good, dear. At least the weekend is almost here, and the restaurant is closed." Chris texted back, "Today was crazy. So many customers on a Friday. Mr. Lee said he's closing up at 7 instead of 10. He added a couple of heart emojis and signed off with, "See you at the bus stop." Lena read his messages over and over, a smile spreading across her face. Excited, she grabbed her denim jacket and made her way to the bus stop, eager to get there before Chris. As she waited, she thought, "Maria can't scare me now. Chris will be here." She felt a sense of safety with him, knowing he was someone she could trust completely. He had always taken care of her, especially when she was unwell, stepping into that role without hesitation. Lost in her thoughts, she didn't notice when Chris showed up. He wrapped his arms around her from behind, his warmth enveloping her as he whispered, "Hey there, sweet Lena." They sat close together, their hands intertwined. The bus hummed softly along the evening road, stopping only 3 times before their stop arrived. Lena leaned her head lightly on Chris's shoulder, and for a moment the world outside the window blurred into calm light and motion. Neither spoke much. Sometimes silence says more than words. Every now and then Chris glanced at her reflection in the window and smiled, quietly thankful. When they arrived, the porch light was on. Maria opened the door, her eyes widening in surprise. She couldn't believe how different Lena looked, the glow in her face, her posture, her confidence. For a second, Maria's heart stumbled. She's even more beautiful than before, she thought. Then her gaze shifted nervously to Chris. Lena stayed at the doorway, not stepping inside. "I just came to pay what we agreed for the rent and your help," she said calmly. Maria swallowed hard, trying to sound casual. "Lena, I'm sorry about the way we parted. I hope you can forgive me." Lena nodded with grace. "This is Chris," she said, turning slightly toward him. "He's my boyfriend." Chris extended his hand. "Nice to meet you, Maria." Her fingers trembled as she took his handshake. His calm eyes held hers with a strength that made her pulse race. Inside, Chris felt a small burst of pride, hearing Lena call him her boyfriend. He wanted to memorize that moment. Lena handed her the envelope. "Please count the money so we're both sure." Maria's hands shook as she counted, then looked up. "It's all here." "Thank you, Lena. I won't be here after next week. I got a job, but not in this country." Chris nodded slightly, keeping his eyes on her. Inside, he thought coldly, "Good. Go as far away as you can. Lena deserves peace." Lena stepped forward and gave Maria a brief hug. "I wish you good luck. At least now I've paid this debt." When they turned to leave, Chris took Lena's hand. She smiled quietly, feeling the warmth in his grip. Maria stood at the doorway, clutching the money. She was happy to have it, yet terrified that Chris, the man who now protected Lena, knew who she truly was. As Lena and Chris walked away, their hands stayed linked. Chris glanced sideways at her and said gently, "Ready to move on from the past?" Lena smiled. "I already have."